So question was posted, so I'm answering it, right? So FHA loans have a stigma, and a lot of times people who are selling homes won't accept offers from FHA people because they assume FHA is for low income people. FHA is for everybody. It's not for low income people, right? There are no income caps on who qualifies for FHA. All right. Some people assume that FHA isn't better than conventional. For some people, conventional loans are better. For some people, FHA loans are better. It really just depends on your down payment. And your down payment really doesn't matter to the seller, because when you buy the house and you get a mortgage, the mortgage is going to pay the seller what they're selling the house for, as long as it appraises at that value, right? As long as the appraisal handles the work. So I don't understand why sellers do this. But anyways, back to who qualifies for an FHA loan. Everybody could qualify for a FHA loan, right? Here's how you qualify. If you have 10% of the sales price in your assets, plus another 2 to 5 to pay the closing costs, you can have a 500 credit score and get an FHA loan. If you want to put 3.5% down plus 2 to 5% for closing costs, you need a 580 credit score. So those are the credit score requirements for FHA. 500 for a bigger down payment, 580 for a little down payment. Cool thing about the 580 Mark II is their down payment assistance programs from lenders. Some lenders will boost that score to 600 to have access to their down payment assistance, because it's a product they offer, right? They're helping you out, so you got to jump through a higher hoop. And that just makes it where you don't have to pay the 3.5%. You can finance that cost and use what would be down payment to pay some of your closing costs. It's pretty convenient. So that's credit score. The next part would be the housing ratio. Okay, so the housing ratio is if you took your monthly income, what percentage of your monthly income would be dedicated to the cost of the mortgage for the house you're looking at, right? So FHA says if you have a 580 credit score or 580 credit score or below, 31% of your income is what can go towards the housing expense. If you have compensating factors and a 580 credit score, so a compensating factor would be you have months of the mortgage payment in your savings beyond what you need in closing cost and cash to close, right? So you have 3 or 4 months worth of mortgage payment in your savings, or 6 months or a year or 2 years worth of savings that equal your monthly payment. That's a win. If you're moving from an apartment that you have rental history in to a house where the payment is similar, that could be a win for you if you have a 580 credit score. Another would be if another compensating factor would be if after you've paid for all your monthly debt obligations, how much money do you have left over every month in your budget? How much residual income do you have, right? That's another compensating factor. And so if you have these compensating factors, they'll increase how much that housing expense can be as a portion of your monthly income. All right. The other ratio to pay attention to is what they call the full debt ratio, or the back end ratio, right? And that can be 43% of your income. So the housing ratio is 31%. The full ratio is 43. All right. And that'd be all your debt payments: car note, car lease, credit card, student loans, plus your mortgage, whatever it is, right? That's your back end. And that's all debts, not your cell phone bill, not your electricity bill, not just your bills, right? Not going out to eat, but specifically debts. That's your back end. Altogether, plus your mortgage is 43%, unless you have compensating factors. And then they'll stretch that number. Some lenders will stretch it to 55%, right? Of your income. And so that's the other portion. And then the last thing to consider, once you got the credit score and you have the income, debt to income ratio figured out, is closing costs, right? Do you have the funds to close the deal? Or have you negotiated a sales contract with the seller that allows you to close the deal? Because with the FHA, the seller could give you 6% of the sales price towards your closing costs. Now, will they? Realistically, in this market, I doubt it. But I will say things are getting harder on sellers outright, right? So like we're seeing an increase in listings because we don't have an increase in buyers to go with it. We're also seeing an increase in listings taken off the market because they're not getting the prices the sellers want to get, so they'd rather stay in their home. Or the seller sees, hey, I'm not going to get an equivalent house if I sell my house at this price that buyers are willing to pay. So I mean, it's a tough market out there for sellers, but I still don't think they're going to give you 6% in closing costs. Maybe they will. Maybe you'll get lucky. But that's the other thing. Do you have enough assets to actually close the deal? If you have enough assets to close the deal, you have the credit score, you have the debt to income ratio, you have the employment history. If you are employed and you're depending on employment, or if you have, retirement income, or, a government, disability, or, government sourced income, or like if you do foster children, whatever your income sources are, as long as they're legal and valid. Do you have the monthly income record that, hey, creates a strong impression in the underwriting system and in the underwriter that this income will continue for a long enough period of time? As long as you have those things, you get in the house. So, I mean, I don't know why FHA borrowers kind of get a stigma. I think it's a winning product for borrowers. It gets them into the house. And to be fair, we get more offers on your house if you didn't have, if sellers didn't have these arbitrary rules based on their fear of like someone not having the assets. That's just a loan officer problem, right? It's my job to make sure, hey, we got everything lined up. So, hey, this is Brandon, FHA Mortgage Guy. Thank you for watching the video. If you found it useful, hit that subscribe button and make 2 other promises today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'll make another video to answer your questions. And then the 3rd promise is to believe in your path to yes. Every person on this planet has a path to yes. You just got to believe in it. You got to pursue it. So have a great day. Take care.